Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! So this happened in 2008-2009, but I thought this community would appreciate the story. In 2008, I had just left my husband. I caught him cheating multiple times and I was just over it. A new girl, we will call her Amy, started at my job and we made a fast friendship. I was in the middle of packing up and moving out of my house and I needed a roommate for a new apartment I was looking at because my wages weren't going to pay the bill. I was in the middle of packing up and moving out of my house. I needed a roommate for a new apartment I was looking at because my wage weren't going to pay the bills. So we moved in together and lived peacefully together for a while. I was moving on with my life and I had gotten a better paying job, was spending time with my friends and I felt okay with life at the time. At the time I was 25, single and not looking for anything serious, so I had a friend who would stop over a few times a week for some adult fun. Amy was cool with it on the surface, it did not affect her in any way, and my friend didn't hang out at our place. He didn't eat at our place, he didn't use our household supplies, and my relationship with him affected her exactly 0%. But I guess she was a little green about the fact that I was getting some attention and she was not. She would flirt with him, go visit him where he worked and so on, but he was absolutely not interested in her. This is where things started to go downhill. For context, she had been married a few times. She was 13 years older than me and Dad had full custody of their respective kids. She was dating someone, but he was already in a relationship, so he wasn't about to commit to anything besides stopping by for 30 minutes after he worked the night shift every day. I tried to point out all the red flags, but she was convinced it was love. This dude used to hit on me constantly in front of her. He was very open about being in a committed relationship with his girlfriend, so I have no idea why Amy thought this was going anywhere. After a few months, I met someone I wanted to be serious with, so we started dating. We will call the guy Tom. Tom and I got serious pretty fast. He was living in a horrible situation, so he moved in with Amy and I pretty quickly. I think it was after about a month of dating, so we have our room and she has her own room. The bills went from 50-50 to 1/3 each to make sure things were still even. We had a shared kitchen, living room and bathroom. After Tom moved in, she started openly hitting on him in front of me. Every guy I had at my house, even just friends, she had to hit on. None of them ever took her up on it. Every single one turned her down, and I think this added greatly to her uncommon behavior. Over the next couple of weeks, Amy did a complete 180. She stopped paying rent, refused to buy any food, and would just eat whatever Tom and I bought. I would not wash her dishes. We had 2 cats, one hers and one mine, and she would never clean the litter in her room, so her cat would use our hallway floor as a bathroom every single day. Every day when I got home from work, there was a big steaming pile of cat poo right inside my front door, sitting in the middle of a giant puddle of urine. My cat was locked in my room at night with her own supplies, so there was 0 chance it was her. It was the same thing every morning by the front door. Whenever she was done eating the food she stole from me, she would set her plate with the leftovers on the kitchen floor for her cat to pick at. She would leave the plate there for days, to the point that if I didn't pick them up, there would be multiple plates on the floor with food in various stages of decay. All of my dishes started going missing, except for the cat's plates, of course. And what dishes were left she refused to wash ever. She used my toilet paper, my laundry soap, even my lady products. This went on for about 2 months and it just kept getting progressively worse. She would use panty liners every day and would change them multiple times a day and stuff them in a garbage can in the bathroom. She would leave it there completely overflowing and spilling onto the floor for days until I caved and put on gloves and threw them out. The can would be full in about a week, so this happened a few times. That's not even the worst part though. My expensive DSLR went missing. I was a photography hobbyist at the time, but it was my dream to be a professional photographer and own my own photography business. I would shoot stuff for friends and family as practice, and one day I grabbed my camera bag from the shared living room, and as soon as I picked it up, I felt my heart sink into my stomach. You know that instant dread that grips you the second you realize something truly gut-wrenching has happened? I opened the bag and of course the camera is gone. That was an expensive camera for that time of my life and it was a gift from my parents, so I was truly devastated. I couldn't prove a thing and I wasn't even sure how long it had been missing. It could have been her boyfriend that took it, but either way, it was gone. So now this is it. This is the last straw. I need the switch out. I went from a nice girl to a damn psycho in about 30 seconds. I'm not the violent type and I hate confrontation. I am not waiting for an eviction to go through and I really didn't have the money for that anyway. So here is where I start my petty revenge. Amy wants to live here with me rent-free, stealing my stuff, hitting on my boyfriend, and neglecting her cat. So be it. But it's going to be on my terms. One vital piece of information. In my divorce, the jerk moved back in with mommy and I took everything from the house to my new apartment. So I owned everything and a lease was in my name. I started by changing the Wi-Fi password and the computer password. The following week, I had my cable company come and remove the cable lines to her room. I bought a small fridge for my room and a cabinet and put all my food and personal supplies in my bedroom and put a secure lock on my door. When her cat went poo-poo on the floor, I will pick it up and smear it on her bedroom doorknob. Overflowing bathroom trash cans filled to the brim with her panty liners were dumped on her bed. I removed the knobs to the washer and the dryer. I did everything possible to make her life uncomfortable. And I did other small stuff. Anything that came to mind. A few months prior, Amy and I had been working at the same store and she borrowed another co-worker's laptop. She ended up getting fired, but she never gave the laptop back. And the co-worker was really trying to get it back from her. Amy ghosted her, of course. So while she was out one day, I went in and took the laptop and gave it back to its rightful owner. Amy called the cops on me and said I stole her computer. But I explained what happened. She admitted to the cops that the computer wasn't hers, and the cops said it wasn't their problem anymore. That one really made her hate me. She wasn't working at the time, so it's not like she had money to do anything or buy anything. She was literally just existing in a room in my apartment. She would disappear during the day, but I have no idea where she was going. She moved out after about 6 weeks. When she moved out of my apartment, I didn't even know she had left. I just noticed she wasn't coming or going for about a week. So Tom and I cleaned out her room. She left clothes, broken furniture, a cardboard dresser, and 5 39-gallon garbage bags of trash we collected from the mass piles of panty liners, rotting food, and ordinary trash we found in her room. It's a miracle we didn't have roaches. I found all my missing dishes, silverware, and cups all covered in food and grossness. I just threw it all away. I wish I still had the photos though. Oddly enough, about 6 months later I opened my back door to take out the trash and my camera was in a bag hanging from my doorknob. I know Amy definitely didn't return it. For about 2 years after, every time I would find out that Amy was living with someone new, I would message them, I would text them and send them the photos of her room, papers and the trash that had her name on them, and I would tell them the whole story. One time it caused the people she was living with to throw her stuff out on a porch. She had just moved in and they had small kids and they didn't want to risk it with her. I stopped after that. She knew it was me. So I figured I had sufficiently made my point. Hey there, my name's Mike, and I'm just a regular 20-something dude living a pretty normal life. I used to be a slap fight competitor back in high school, but nowadays I'm more of a spectator. So I'm sitting on this bench watching the action, and there is this entitled lady Karen with her bratty kid. Karen wanted the front row seat for the slap fight that was taking place in a local park. But there was a girl in a wheelchair already sitting there. The girl's name is Lily, and she's the younger sister of a legendary slap fight competitor, Josh. Oh my bad, I got so caught up that I forgot to explain what slap fighting is for those who might be scratching their heads. So let me break it down for you. Slap fighting is like a combination of arm wrestling and a high five gone wild. It's a sport, yes, it's a legit thing, where two opponents face off, and instead of throwing punches, they take turns slapping each other across the face. Sounds crazy, right? Now, before you dismiss it as some barbaric nonsense, let me tell you, there is technique and skill involved. It's not just about the brute force, it's about precision, timing, and endurance. You want to slap your opponent with enough force to make an impact, but without causing any serious harm. It's more about testing your pain tolerance than causing injury. Believe it or not, slap fighting has a passionate following, and there are actual competitions with rules and referees. These events draw crowds of enthusiasts cheering and gasping with every slap. It's like a mix of adrenaline, machismo, and camaraderie. I was once a part of this world, and let me tell you, it's an experience like no other. The friendships forged on a slap fighting circuit are unbreakable. We might slap each other silly in a ring, but outside of it, we're like one big slightly bruised family. So the park where the story went down is a sort of unofficial slap fighting arena. We might slap each other silly in a ring, but outside of it, we're like one big slightly bruised family. So the park where the story went down is a sort of unofficial slap fighting arena where local enthusiasts gather on weekends to put their skills to the test. Anyways, let's get back to the story. Karen was just oblivious to all that, and she starts demanding that Lily moves so her kid can have a better view.
Hey you, move out of that seat right now. My precious angel needs it more.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but I can't. This is the only spot I can comfortably watch from.
You're just faking it. People like you ruin everything for others.
Lily remained calm, but Karen wasn't having any of it. She reached over and slapped Lily right across the face. Yeah, you heard that right. Slapped a girl in a wheelchair. The nerve. Lily was shocked and she started crying. But poor Karen had no clue she just missed with the wrong family. Josh saw everything from across the arena. Let me tell you, this guy is massive, both in size and in slap fighting skills. Josh came running, roaring at this point. Who the heck just laid a hand on my sister? He stormed over like a beast, and Karen suddenly realized the gravity of her mistake.
I didn't know she was your sister. She was just acting like a freaking brat.
Josh wasn't having any of it, and he was ready to show Karen what real slapping was all about. Before things escalated further, I quickly intervened and said, "Hey Josh, let's handle this the right way. Let's call the cops." We dialed the police and within minutes, they were there, taking statements from everyone. Karen was trying to weasel her way out of trouble, but the truth was clear as day. She had slapped an innocent girl in a wheelchair just because she wanted a better view of a slap fight. The officer tells her, "Ma'am, you're under arrest for assault. You have the right to remain silent." Karen, snarling at the officer,
"Are you serious? I had to put up with that wheelchair-bound burden ruining our view. She doesn't even belong here."
Her insensitive and hurtful comment sent shockwaves through the crowd. The officer's expression changed from one of mild surprise to stern disapproval. But before the officer could finish reading her rights, Josh, who was a swift and powerful slap, delivered the thunderous blow to Karen's face. She was taken aback and collapsed on the spot, unconscious. The park fell silent for a moment as everyone processed what just happened. Then, the police immediately called for an ambulance, and Karen was eventually taken away on a stretcher. But sadly, one of the officers started detaining Josh as well and putting handcuffs on him for knocking the living hell out of Karen like that. And eventually, he was taken away too. While what Josh did may have seemed extreme, we knew that his protective instincts had kicked in. I think what he did was justifiable, at least in the eyes of most of the people witnessing this whole mess. The crowd around us buzzed with shock and awe, witnessing the unforgettable turn of events. Josh's legendary slap fighting skills have been put to use in an entirely unexpected way. As we watched the ambulance and police car disappear from sight, we knew that this day would be remembered in the slap fight community for years to come. Life sure is unpredictable, my friend, but it's moments like these that remind me why I'm proud to call Josh my friend. Him standing up for his little sister like that will always be something worth a lot of respect. So our story will be temporarily paused here as I don't have more to share right now based on my current knowledge. I'll surely follow what will end up happening to Josh and we'll keep you guys posted once things get clearer. It's been a while since I've posted in here, but another story reminded me of a rather wholesome interaction I had in a grocery store as a kid. Now, this took place a fair bit ago. Okay, 1980. Okay, I'm old, shut up. Anyways, I was an 11-year-old pipsqueak from a tiny town just south of nowhere on the east coast of Canada. Pigtails, ribbons, snub nose, and knees covered in scabs. Probably wearing a Care Bear t-shirt and standing about 4'6" short. That was me. We had gone to Toronto that summer to visit my aunt. The big city. The Jane Finch corridor to be precise. Those of you familiar with Toronto can cringe and say yeesh now. To those unfamiliar, Jane and Finch is quite possibly the most dangerous area of the city and has been since the early 70s, and my family landed into this garbage-lined slice of hell one bright July morning. Seriously, the stench of the garbage bacon in the 40 Celsius sun was overwhelming. About a week after our arrival, a terrifying encounter with one of the locals left me fearful and I stuck to my appearance like glue. Until the day we went food shopping. The IGA, do they still exist, was across the street from my aunt's, so mom and I walked over. I was immediately excited at all the wonderful, different races and languages being spoken all around me. I confess, small town me probably started without any shame. I held tight to the cart and started enjoying myself. My moment of bravery came at the checkout. Just ahead of us in line was a tiny, elderly Asian couple buying several baskets of delicious-looking peaches. I remember being fascinated by the language they spoke and wondering why they wanted so many peaches. Then, still chattering away to each other, walked away into the mall, leaving all their peaches behind. The clerk called out, but they must not have heard, as they kept walking. I looked at the peaches and at the couple as they slowly shuffled away, and I knew I could catch them if I hurried. The memory of the incident a few days earlier was still fresh, but they needed their peaches. I bit my lip, looked up at my mom. "I can be fast, mommy." Mom hesitated, sighed, and said, "Fast. No stopping, and right back to me. I'll be behind you." I grabbed up those bags of peaches and was off like a shot. I still remember how scared and determined I was. Dang it. They needed their peaches. I caught up to the couple a minute or so later, standing by a bench, clearly upset. I shyly tapped the man on the arm and held out their bags and smiled. Peaches? Didn't know a word of their language. Answered much excitement from them. Much happy chattering coupled with many bows and strokes on my cheek. I have no idea to this day what they said, but their relief and joy was plain. By then my mommy had caught up to me and their chattering began again. I remember my delight at being helpful, being brave. As we left, they stopped me once more and presented me with my reward, a peach. And no peach has ever tasted as sweet.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.